Hello, everyone, and welcome to Get Published Industry Experts Share Their Secrets author interview series. Today, I am joined with Dr. Tina Welsome, the Key Publishing House, and so grateful to be talking to you today, Tina. Thank you for being here.
Thank you for having me. And I have to say, watching your intro to your interview and watching the magic happen, I was just sitting there and centering myself and breathing and thinking, I love the magic. And I'm going to have to talk to you about how to create one of those things for my own studio.
Yeah, that was fun. Okay, so Dr. Kristina Tickler Welsome is a doctor of physical therapy. She is the owner of the Key of Wellness and the Key to Publishing House, a self-love and life desire coach, an international best-selling author and publisher. And her chapter in Get Published Industry Experts Share Their Secrets is called Authentically and Courageously Change Your Life by Sharing Your Story. And if you're curious about how to be authentic in your life, about how to start rewriting your own life, how to share it, you're going to want to stick around because we're going to be talking about that today. So I just want to start off by saying, your title is Authentically and Courageously Change Your Life by Sharing Your Story. And so can you share a little bit with readers about what, you really share that readers are I have notes here. I got off track.
I'll use them.
So readers are the author of their own life, and they hold the pen on and off the paper. That is really the premise of your chapter. Can you share a little bit, a synopsis of what that means to you and what you share in your chapter?
Yeah, thank you for asking. I think for a long time, I was what Julia Cameron in The Artist's Way would call a shadow artist, which is when you love music, but you're not a musician, or you go to the ballet, but you don't actually take a dance class, or you read every book that's ever written because you love the written word and you love hearing other people's thoughts and feelings and stories shared, but you don't actually have the courage to write your own story. And I think that for me, I felt like my own life story was being penned by somebody else. It was in the power of other people who took things from me or made choices for me or who told me how to be. And I felt powerless in the face of that. I felt that, life was happening to me, not for me. And I didn't, I hate to say this because it's so cliche, but the Taylor Swift song, it's me. Hi, I'm the problem. It's me. That I feel like is my fucking theme song. Excuse my language. I swear. But I do.
It's an audience, so we're okay.
Yeah, all right. Sorry. 13 or, earmuffs over your children. I don't swear at you. But I do. I heard that song and I was like, oh my God, is she speaking to me? And yeah, she probably is, because if you're familiar with the Body of 9, I am a natural number 7, and so is Taylor Swift. So a lot of her words resonate with me. It's like she's in my head. But the thing is yes, you are your problem, and you are also your solution. And so, you can give other people the pen and let them write the words that they're going to say about you, or you can let fate determine what happens to you, or you can say, no, this is my life. I'll take that pen. Thank you very much. And I'm going to rewrite that story. I'm going to change the narrative I tell myself about the things that have happened in my life that happened for me, to help me realize who I was, to help me realize what my value was, to help me realize what I wanted to do with this one precious life. And I can either, I can rewrite that as a chapter. I can rewrite that as a whole life story. I can rewrite that as a memoir. I can turn the page. I can start a new chapter. I can write a whole damn book. I did. And then I can look at it and say, I don't even like that book anymore because I'm a totally different person than I was, when I wrote that. Now I want to rewrite it, or I want to write another one. And I think it's recognizing that that radical personal responsibility of recognizing that your life is your own. You are the main character, but you are also the author. You're not just a character that somebody's penning words for. You don't have to say them. You can go off script because it's your script. And I think that when I hear people say they want to write, or they have a great story to tell, or they want to change their story, like in therapy or in coaching, they want to change their story, the story they tell themselves in their head. All of that is possible. It's just having that courage. And that doesn't mean to be fearless. I think when I first started this journey of figuring out who I was, I had this intention of being fearless. I thought that if I had no fear, then I could do anything. And what I realized is the only people who have no fears are sociopaths. And I don't want to be them, and I'm not one of them.
That's right.
I decided that fear is normal. It's human. It's healthy. It exists to keep us safe. But we have to be open and willing to face it. And that's really where courage comes from, is, being connected and centered with yourself, knowing your own heart, having an open heart, and being brave enough to show up as the person that you are, good and bad. We all have it. And write the story and live the story and make it the story you want it to be.
It's so relatable. And I think, so Get Published, Industry Experts Share Their Secrets is coming May 8th. So mark your calendars to get to dig into Tina's wisdom along with the other contributors. I think, and I was talking to Tina a bit behind the scenes before we came on live. And one of the things that I admire so much about you is that you walk your walk, and you have shown up and you have done the things. And now you are in this amazing position to be able to guide other people through this journey too. And so you ask your readers to ask themselves the simple yet very powerful question: what is your story? And so why is that such an important question? And how has that question influenced your clients and your own experience as an author and a publisher?
Good questions. So I think, knowing your own story, not the story your parents have for you, not the story that society has for you, not the story your partner has for you, not the story your children want to think about you. To really own your story is to be authentic, and is to be unique, and to be brave enough to share that story. It sounds really simple, but it's not. It's really hard. Well, it's simple, but it's not easy. It's hard. And I think, we all want to be seen and heard and valued for who we truly are inside. Yet when we don't tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth about ourselves, whether it's the beautiful truth, the light of us, or the ugly truth about our darkest days, or rock bottom, or the nasty thought we really had, or the snarky comment that just went through us when we thought of somebody who was mean to us. That's to be human, and that's to be raw and to be real. And I think that those are the stories, or when you tell your story in that way, at that depth, I think that's when we actually can really connect with each other as human beings. Because otherwise, it's just the social politeness of, hi, how are you? I'm great. How are you? As opposed to, hey, how are you? You look like you're having a rough day, or you look like you didn't sleep last night, or, are you okay? And actually really caring to hear the true story. And the true story, we've got true crime. We have the Real Housewives. I don't want to see the edited version. I want the truth. I don't know. I think we all do, because then we feel empowered to be allowed to be human as well. And so I think when people are sharing their story, whether it's, verbally on a podcast, or writing their own book, or showing up on their social media accounts, for personal reasons or for business, or sharing a story with their spouse at dinner, or sharing a story of their childhood with their children. If you only show the highlight reels, that's not reality. And then we're all living in this delusional world where we're disingenuous and we don't feel safe and secure enough to be human. And if we can't be human, then I don't really know what's going to happen to humanity. I think that's a big existential angst I carry with myself. So
And
I'd like to
you
just encourage people that if they're going to open their mouth and speak, and they should open their mouth and speak, because their story is unique and only they can tell it, but to be brave enough to tell the whole truth of it, the good, the bad, the ugly, the humanity of it.
And you are living, walking, leading the way, and really being authentic, being true, like you said, showing the full spectrum of reality, because we're all experiencing this. And as we do that, as we're willing to be honest and true about who we are and where we've been and where we're going, regardless of where we, or how confused we are about that process, it's honest. It's an invitation for other people to really be true to themselves and honest about those things too. So I think it's amazing. And I think throughout this interview, people are really going to be able to understand that for you, writing and publishing, and in your chapter also, it's so clear that this is an expression of who we are. It's a healing journey. And it is something that you have absolutely walked the walk on. And
walking it out.
And now you're in this position where you get to, and that you continue to go through. But I think a lot of people can speak to things that they haven't experienced, and that's not you. You really have this place of understanding. So you share that when you started writing your story, because you have written the book, you wrote Loved, the key to unlocking your potential and living an authentic life you love. And when you started writing your story, you had to let go of the person you were, the stories you repeated in your head, and the dreams you held for your future. And really, you really did this as a healing beginning and in a journal. And then you started to say, wait a minute, this deserves to be shared, right? So tell us a little bit about that journey for you and how that kind of progression happened.
Thank you for mirroring that and reflecting back that journey. Because one of the things you just said was, I decided that, or I thought, hey, this should be shared. I didn't think it should be shared. It was work that I was doing in therapy, in coaching, my own journey of figuring out who the heck I was and where I was going and how I was going to change and rearrange my life after my marriage ended, and just kind of looking at my life. And it's not even about my marriage, it's about the whole life I lived to this point. It was actually a dear friend and therapist of mine who felt that what I had written and what I was sharing with him in therapy, he kept saying, can I write this down? Can I quote you? Can I tell this to my other clients? Because I really think it would help them to know they're not alone, and to know that it is possible, and to know that, yes, it can hurt that bad and it can be that good at the same time, and hold that duality. And so I would never have written this book. I would never have written any of the chapters that I've written, or written my own book, or opened a publishing house, or gotten certified as a coach, if he hadn't seen that spark in me that I wasn't able to see in myself. And so I want to give him credit for that. And I think that we often need that. I think sometimes we can't see that. We can't see ourselves clearly. Our lenses are fogged. And so I do think that most of us, I actually, I'm going to say all of us, I don't think there's ever been any writer ever who has written their book in a silo, right? Who didn't at least share the manuscript with a loved one, or share their thoughts and gotten feedback and bounced ideas off somebody, had an editor, had somebody, guiding them through the process. Whether it was traditional publishing or indie publishing or self-publishing. And I think that that's really valuable for us to recognize, is that nobody goes it alone, ever. ever. And nor should we want to. It's a much better journey when you share it with people, even the ugly parts. And so, I think walking that walk for me, staying still was never a choice, because even if I stay still, the world is still moving on past me, right? So change is inevitable. And so I get to choose, do I stay here and stay stuck and let the world move on without me? Or do I choose to take that next best step, even though I'm totally scared, even though I'm not sure where I'm going, even though I don't know what's going to happen, even though I don't know how people are going to react to my words or to my pain or to my ugly truth or to the beauty or the wisdom that I have either. That's even sometimes more scary, like the fear of succeeding or the fear of helping someone. Because then I'm like, oh God, then you're going to say thank you. And I don't know how to receive that. I don't even know how to receive a compliment. I'm still working on that, So I think just, having that faith sometimes means somebody's got to take you by the hand and help or hold that mirror up and show you, so you can put that first word on paper, so you can take that next step in the direction. And it might be in the wrong direction, but you can always realize that and turn around and go a different way.
Usually it's a progression. Like this is
not a progression, and
not a straight line.
Like I was saying before, you've got those, if you're a scientist, I'm a physical therapist by education. So, there are vector forces that act on our body. That's a straight line. And then sometimes we have multiple vectors that sum. And I feel like my story has been like, I was on this path of what I was supposed to do, go to school, get a degree, have a career, fall in love, get married, have kids, live happily ever after. Except that's not how the fairy tale ended. So I was on this straight path, and then it was like, this isn't working. And then it became this whole chaotic jumble, and I'm still somewhat in there. But I do see that there is an overall summation of all of those curvilinear, vectoral pieces that are going this way. That's, my life path. And I don't know what is at the end of it. I don't even know what's on it. I just know that I'm choosing to continue to walk it out and see what's there for me on the way.
And thank goodness you are, because you're learning so much about yourself and being a model for other people about what that courageous path can look like for them. And so you mentioned that there are lots of support systems in publishing, and in this book, even we have all these opportunities for people who are wanting to guide you. How has your own experience as a writer, someone who's really been there, has done the thing, who's gone through it, how has that influenced the work you do with your clients?
It's interesting. Like I said, I think we often want to do it all, or we think we should do it all. And I think knowing what parts of it light you up and bring you joy, if it's the telling the story. Like I have somebody I'm working with as a ghostwriter right now, and she's got an incredible story to tell. And she feels like, well, I'm not really writing this book. You're writing it. No. You're telling the story. I'm just putting your words on paper. And then you're reading it and you're saying, wow, that sounds fabulous. You're such a good writer. And I'm like, I'm just the
your story, your voice, your words. I'm just doing the technical piece of putting it on paper.
Exactly. Which is no different than if you chose to physically put the words on paper or type them out, and then maybe somebody edits them to make sure that, is this what you meant to say? I want to understand you. And so, or you have the words and they've been edited and crafted perfectly, but like, how do they lay out on the book, or what does the cover look like? You want the cover to represent what's inside. And so I think there's just so many pieces of it. And so I think knowing like what lights you up and what brings you joy, because it should be joyous, and the things that aren't, that are just, I don't like doing that, or I'm not good at that. Like I could learn to do my taxes by myself, but I don't want to. Thank you. I have better things to do with my life. Thank God. God bless my account, right? Because tax day, might be today actually.
It's a few days coming. It's coming up.
Right about now, which is probably why that example is on the tip of my tongue. But I think, I think embracing and loving, like, what is the truth for you? Is it that you want to share the story? And if you need help with getting the words on paper or editing the words to make them right or putting the words into publication. Or for me, I think where I've really found my greatest joy is the connection and the community that I have with my authors or the authors in my multi-author books, of making sure that that healing is happening along the way and that it does feel good and that it does empower you as you become an author. Or maybe you don't even want to be published. Maybe you just need to get those words out onto paper, out of your head and onto paper. And so sometimes I think writers need somebody to help them deal with them, to love on them, to support them, to help them reflect back the value that they're adding and they're putting into the world so they can feel courageous enough to authentically tell that story in whatever medium it is. Again, whether it's a book or you're, orally going to be on podcasts or you're going to step on that TEDx stage, whatever it is. So I think for me, recognizing it's really back to the heart of the matter, the heart of the person, what's at the core of them, and how do I support that, and how do I help connect them with the people that they need to get that valuable story out into the world where it can heal them by sharing it and heal other people by reading it and inspiring them and giving them hope.
Absolutely. And I think, again, it's just so grounded in the wellness, of course, which is such a big piece of the work that you do and understanding that. And so if you have a story, or you're not sure if you have a story, or if you want to write your story, or if you're anywhere on this journey of being curious about what this process might look like for you, make sure to connect with Tina, because she's absolutely going to hold this incredible, loving space for you as you maneuver through your own process of unweaving who you are and how you want to present that to the world. So I've connected. I have her website in the comments. Make sure to connect with her. She is an incredible human, publisher and author, writing coach, all the things.
Thank you.
If you write so much about how we are the author of our story, and whether that's in our own personal journey, in our heads, in a publication, in a book, what is the thing that you want people to take away from your chapter?
Oh, I think it's to find that courage, to really stop letting it be, I have a dream of writing, or I have a dream of sharing myself or my story, that, I want to be seen. I want to be heard. I want to be valued. I want to leave them with the courage to do that, to not leave this world with the regret of never having fully shared themselves. I think that would be the greatest shame of all.
That's so beautiful. So on that note, we're going to wrap this up. Get Published Industry Experts Share Their Secrets is launching May 8th. So mark your calendar and sign up to be the first to know when this comes out. We're going to be sharing a lot more of these author interviews and all of the amazing wisdom that is shared without this book. It's been just an incredible honor to work with these professionals and people who are truly just, publishing is heartfelt, writing is heartfelt, and I think that's expressed through and through, not only in Tina's chapter, but throughout the book. So thank you all for being here, and that's all for us today. Thanks, Tina.
Thanks, Nicolette.